Hey, do me a favor. Take a second right now and just look down at your hand. Specifically, look at the ring on your finger. We look at it today and we see a symbol of engagement, right? Maybe a touch of elegance or just a simple piece of everyday jewelry. But if you start digging into historical manuscripts and ancient documents, they tell a completely different story.
Okay, let's dive into this because this is wild. For over 5,000 years, that simple, quiet little circle you're wearing was actually the ultimate keeper of secrets. It was the most cursed, hidden assassination weapon ever devised. It was a tool of governance used to literally subjugate both humans and unseen spirits. And today? Well, today it represents what might be the biggest economic trick in the history of fashion. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's flip through the pages of this secret history.
We're going to be tracing the evolution of control through this timeline, going all the way from magic wards in the Stone Age to state secrets in 1330 BC, divine sovereignty around 960 BC, imperial diplomacy in 628 AD, lethal espionage in the 1490s, right up to a massive economic illusion in 1947.
So our journey actually begins way back in the Paleolithic era. Humanity hadn't even figured out how to extract gold yet. Instead, early humans were crafting these hollowed-out rings from animal bones and stones. And the reason wasn't vanity, not at all. It was based on a deeply held magical belief. They looked at the circle as this unique entity with no beginning and no end. They genuinely believed this endless loop physically blocked evil spirits from infiltrating the body. It was purely a tool for supernatural survival.
The real turning point, though, happens in ancient Egypt, around 1330 BC. This is where the pharaohs took the ring and upgraded it from a magical amulet to a fierce guardian of state secrets. They forged these incredible rings from something called electrum, which is this natural alloy of gold and silver, and they inlaid them with that stunning deep blue stone lapis lazuli. And get this, the face of the ring actually rotated. One side featured a pharaonic scarab, and the other carried the royal cartouche. It represented the concept of Shenu, a pharaonic word that literally means encirclement and eternity.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how archaeologist Zahi Hawass explains it. These royal seals weren't just mechanical locks, they functioned as deeply religious and legal documents. If you broke the clay that was sealed by a royal ring, you weren't just trespassing, you were assaulting the protection of the gods themselves. And that terrifying divine fear, that is exactly why the papyrus ropes sealing King Tutankhamun's tomb survived completely untouched for over 3,300 years, right until Howard Carter finally removed them in 1922.
As the world transitioned into the Bronze Age around the 10th century BC, the ring's symbolism leveled up again. It went from state documentation to absolute sovereignty over the universe. We are talking about the legendary Ring of King Solomon. Apocryphal manuscripts tell us this definitely wasn't your ordinary gold ring. It was supposedly forged from an opposing celestial alloy of copper and iron. The copper half was used to execute commands and seal pacts with good jinn, while the iron half was dedicated entirely to restraining demons and powerful, malevolent spirits.
According to historical Islamic texts, this ring was literally the engine of Solomon's kingship. He could raise it to calm raging storms or point it at advancing armies to turn them back. But there's this incredible dramatic anecdote. A demon named Sucker supposedly managed to steal the ring and threw it straight into the sea. Instantly, just like that, Solomon was stripped of his kingdom. He spent 40 days far from his throne, completely powerless, until the ring was miraculously found inside the belly of a fish, restoring his absolute rule. It really shows you, this wasn't jewelry, it was power itself.
So the crucial point is how this concept evolves. Fast forward to the year 628 AD, and we shift from ancient myths to the simplest, yet arguably the most politically penetrating ring in history, the seal of the Prophet Muhammad. When he needed to send official diplomatic letters to global empires, places like Persia and Rome, he was told they simply wouldn't accept any document unless it was officially stamped. So tradition says he forged a ring, but he completely avoided gold. It was made of pure silver, set with a distinct Abyssinian agate. And brilliantly, it was engraved in reverse, so it would read correctly when stamped in ink. Allah, Rasul, Muhammad.
This remarkably simple silver ring governed a rapidly expanding state. It was passed down after the Prophet's passing to Abu Bakr, then Omar, and finally Uthman. But then, tragedy struck. In the year 656 AD, Caliph Uthman was standing near the Quba Mosque at the Aris well, and the ring slipped from his hand straight into the water. They literally drained the entire well. They frantically searched the mud at the bottom for 3 straight days and nights.
But it was gone. It vanished forever. And historically, the loss of this exact ring is viewed as the literal turning point that sparked eras of massive geopolitical turmoil and fracture in Islamic history. Let's transition over to medieval Europe now, specifically the Vatican in 1265 AD, to witness the birth of the Ring of the Fisherman. Forged from pure gold and deeply engraved with the image of St. Peter casting his fishing net, this single ring wielded an astonishing amount of authoritative power. Just to put that into perspective, with nothing but this gold seal and some hot red wax, Pope Alexander VI literally divided the entire unexplored world between Spain and Portugal in the 1494 Treaty of Tordesillas. No armies, just a ring. But wielding that kind of immense power required what has to be the most terrifying and dramatic ritual in the Vatican's history. Step 1. The very moment a pope takes his final breath. Step 2. A cardinal immediately enters the chamber, holding a hammer made of pure silver. And step 3. Right there, in front of the other cardinals, he strikes the golden ring, shattering and destroying it completely.
And this brilliantly illustrates a key point. This wasn't just some poetic funeral rite. As historian Frederick Haskin notes, this was strict, visceral security protocol. Think about it. If that ring fell into the wrong hands for even an hour, someone could forge papal decrees and instantly shift the balance of power across all of Europe. The Vatican treated the ring for exactly what it was, a highly dangerous instrument of supreme authority.
But in Italy, during the Renaissance, in the 1490s, the ring shifted from an instrument of religious authority to, well, an absolute nightmare. Actually, scratch that. It became a literal weapon. The infamous Borgia family invented these mechanical sapphire rings designed specifically for assassination. There were two terrifying varieties. First, the powder chamber. A subtle press of a fingernail would open a hidden compartment, dropping arsenic into a guest's wine glass during a feast. But the second type is just chilling, the microscopic needle. This ring had a tiny poison needle that protruded only when the wearer squeezed someone's hand during a warm handshake. The poison hit the bloodstream instantly. The victim would go home and die hours later with no wound, no puncture mark, and absolutely no trace of what happened.
Let's move to something a bit more familiar and see how this builds into the modern era. The rings we wear today for love and marriage, that tradition actually started in ancient Rome. But originally, it was just an iron collar placed on a wife's finger as a legal marker of ownership. Later on, the Romans evolved this into a pretty brilliant piece of anatomical fiction. They invented the medical myth of the vena amoris, or the vein of love. They claimed there was a single vein running directly from the fourth finger of the left hand straight to the heart. Modern medicine has completely debunked this, of course. There is absolutely no dedicated vein like that, but the myth was so good, it shaped our culture forever.
But wait, how on earth did we get from iron and gold to diamonds? Well, the secret doesn't lie in ancient history. It lies in one of the smartest, most deceptive marketing campaigns in modern history, taking place in 1947. Before this, there was virtually zero connection between engagements and diamonds. People just didn't do it. But the De Beers Diamond Company, teaming up with an ad agency, created a magical, forward slogan that materialized global demand literally out of thin air. A diamond is forever.
Investigative journalist Edward J. Epstein explains how De Beers convinced the entire global population that the extent of a man's love is mathematically measured by the size of the diamond he buys. Furthermore, they somehow convinced us that this diamond must never be resold, only kept forever. It was a massive psychological manipulation that created a multi-million-dollar industry from nothing. The ring had basically evolved into the ultimate tool of mass consumer control.
So let's look at where we've been. We've traveled from a hollow bone in a dark cave warding off spirits to a pharaonic scarab guarding King Tut. We've seen a cosmic alloy commanding unseen forces for Solomon and a simple silver seal whose loss sent an empire into turmoil. We watched a silver hammer smash papal gold, microscopic needles delivering untraceable death, all the way to a brilliantly marketed diamond that gets people to hand over months of their salary. That silent circle on your finger is not just a piece of jewelry. It's the longest, most complex human legacy of power, fear, and love. So, look at your hand one more time. Reflecting on everything we've uncovered in this explainer today, which of these historical rings do you wish you could touch just once? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next explainer.